GMNA uses artificial intelligence for generated speech, visuals, and production. AI-generated content may contain errors. Please verify important information before making decisions or taking action.
Good morning, Montreal. I'm Lauren Dupuis. A staggering 25,000 vacant units are on the city's housing radar, while the STM strike and highway work are snarling traffic across the island. And in OshalaHga, La Nadia Women's Sports Bar is back in business. Ryan, what do you make of that?
Earlier this week, the Montreal Canadiens secured 2 NHL awards, with captain Nick Suzuki receiving the Selke Trophy.
Defenseman Cole Caulfield was also honored, earning the Lady Byng Trophy for sportsmanship and gentlemanly conduct this season.
The Selke Trophy recognizes the league's best defensive forward, while the Lady Byng honors players exemplifying skill and respect.
All right, let's get into it and dive into today's top stories shaping Montreal this bright Wednesday morning. Good morning, Montreal. Here's what you need to know as you head out. The latest on the downtown transit strike, tomorrow's weather outlook, and a health alert affecting seniors. City officials say, according to a recent municipal survey released today, roughly 25,000 housing units sit empty across the island, a figure that matches the total number of homes in the Villeray neighborhood. The tally emerges as Montreal grapples with a deepening housing shortage, leaving many families on waiting lists for affordable rentals. Researchers point to a paradox. Thousands of dwellings remain vacant while demand outpaces supply, driving up rents and forcing some residents to seek shelter elsewhere. The vacancy count, released this morning, underscores the urgency of policy measures aimed at bringing empty properties back into the market. City leaders have pledged to work with landlords and developers to identify barriers and accelerate the turnover of unused units, hoping to ease pressure on those searching for a place to call home.
Authorities captured a kangaroo that had been roaming the south shore of Montreal on Thursday. The animal was spotted earlier near Highway 20 in the Boucherville area, prompting a coordinated response from local police and wildlife officials. Officers located the marsupial along the highway corridor and safely secured it before it could wander further into residential neighborhoods. The capture took place on June 17, and the kangaroo will be transferred to a wildlife rehabilitation center for assessment. Officials said the incident began when the animal escaped from a nearby transport vehicle, though no injuries were reported. The operation was overseen by the Sûreté du Québec and the Provincial Wildlife Agency, which confirmed the animal was unharmed during the apprehension. The swift action prevented potential traffic disruptions and ensured public safety while allowing the creature a chance for proper care.
Yesterday, the Montreal Children's Hospital issued an urgent alert about a sharp increase in severe injuries among young riders of electric scooters. Hospital officials said the number of serious cases has risen dramatically in the past month, with most patients aged between 10 and 16 requiring emergency care for fractures, head trauma, or internal injuries. Doctors link the surge directly to the growing popularity of dockless scooters among children and teenagers, who often ride without helmets or protective gear. The hospital's trauma team is now tracking every scooter-related admission and urging parents to supervise usage closely. Health authorities have begun reviewing safety guidelines, and local schools are being asked to incorporate scooter safety into their programs. Officials stress that the trend could strain pediatric emergency resources if it continues unchecked.
Yesterday, the English Montreal School Board announced a proposal to eliminate more than 100 positions that provide direct support to students with special needs. The plan, presented by the board, would cut staff across the district, prompting a swift response from parents and the teachers' union. Both groups say the reductions threat essential services for vulnerable learners and could jeopardize individualized education plans already in place. The board argues the move is part of a broader cost-saving effort, yet officials have not detailed how the remaining resources will meet existing demands. Parents gathered at a community center in the Plateau Mont-Royal area, demanding a pause while alternatives are explored. The union has filed a formal objection and warned of possible legal action if the cuts proceed without proper consultation. The board has not set a final date for implementation.
Construction on 2 new stations for the rapid transit REM network will start in the Southwest Borough in 2028, with both expected to open in 2030. The additions will extend the system's reach toward the island's western edge, linking neighborhoods such as St. Henry and Lachine more directly to downtown and the airport. Officials say the stations are part of the province's long-term plan to increase service frequency and reduce car traffic on major bridges. The project will be built alongside existing tracks, using the same light rail technology that powers the current REM lines. The Société de Transport de Montréal will coordinate the station design with local bus routes, aiming to streamline transfers for riders. When completed, commuters will have a faster, electric option for traveling across the city, and the expansion is projected to support growing residential and commercial development in the southwest. Vacant units rise, a kangaroo's caught, scooter injuries surge, and a 2-year wait for high-performance bikes. We will be right back.
Watch the local sunset tonight at 6 p.m. for all your local Montreal news.
If you run a venue, a comedy night, a concert, a fundraiser, you already know the hardest part isn't the show. It's selling the seats. Theaterfiller changes that. In minutes, you're set up with your own ticketing page, QR code delivery, and a door scanner. No technical headaches, no middleman taking a cut of your night. Your event, your tickets, your revenue. Go to theaterfiller.com and fill every seat.
Welcome back, everyone. Here's what's happening in our city today: traffic, weather, and community updates. Ryan Mercer, take us through the local stories.
Quebec has announced a new rule that will require anyone newly licensed to ride a high-performance motorcycle to wait for 2 years before they can get behind the throttle of those powerful machines. The measure, unveiled on June 17th by the province's transportation authorities, is being championed by Karen Ferrazano, who leads the Association of Quebec Driving Schools. It targets bikes built for high speed and aggressive handling, with the aim of keeping riders who lack experience off the most demanding two-wheel vehicles. The 2-year waiting period will apply across the province, meaning new riders will have to spend that time on standard motorcycles or other forms of transport before they can legally operate a high-performance model. Officials say the change is intended to improve road safety for all users.
Tonight, the Segel Center in Snowdon will host a Yiddish rendition of Mitchell Tremblay's classic play Les Belles Sœurs. Opening on June 16th, the production keeps original 1960s storyline about the lives of women on the Plateau Mont-Royal, but translates every line into Yiddish. The effort, supported by local Jewish cultural groups and director Claudia Habert, aims to bridge French-speaking theatrical heritage with the vibrant Yiddish-speaking community. Audiences can expect familiar humor and drama while hearing dialogue in a language that has long been part of the neighborhood's fabric. Organizers say the staging highlights shared history of Montreal's diverse neighborhoods, offering a fresh perspective on a work that has resonated for decades. It marks one of few Yiddish productions of a Quebec classic, underscoring the Jewish community's role in preserving cultural dialogue. The run will continue for several weeks, giving residents a chance to experience the blend of tradition and storytelling.
2 empty low-income buildings in East Montreal have been left to decay, sparking growing worry among nearby residents. The structures, originally planned to provide affordable housing, now sit abandoned with broken windows, overgrown yards, and visible signs of neglect. Local officials say the properties were slated for low-income tenants but have stalled, leaving the sites vulnerable to vandalism and safety hazards. Neighbors report increased noise, stray animals, and a rise in unsightly debris, affecting daily life and property values. City inspectors have visited the sites, noting structural concerns that could pose risks if left unaddressed. Community groups are pressing for swift action, urging the owners to either complete the intended housing or secure the buildings properly. The situation underscores a pressing gap in affordable housing delivery, with residents hoping for a resolution before the summer heat intensifies.
An escaped wallaby continues to elude capture 5 days after it fled from a private stable on the south shore of Montreal. The small marsupial was discovered missing on June 16th, prompting a search that has involved local animal control and volunteers. Officials say wallabies, while exotic, are occasionally kept in private enclosures throughout Quebec, and they can be difficult to track in suburban backyards and wooded areas. Neighbors have reported sightings of a gray-brown animal hopping along fence lines and through garden hedges, but its exact location remains unknown. Authorities advise anyone who spots the animal to keep a safe distance and allow professionals to handle the situation. Some residents have heard soft thumps at night, a typical marsupial sound. The ongoing effort underscores the challenge of managing non-native wildlife that escapes into residential neighborhoods.
Service on the REM has been halted between Central Station and Panama Station following an emergency response on Tuesday afternoon, June 16th. Emergency crews entered the corridor, prompting officials to suspend trains while the situation is addressed. The interruption affects the main line that links downtown with outlying neighborhoods, meaning commuters heading to work or school will need to seek alternate transportation. REM operators said they are working with responders to assess the incident and will restore service as soon as safety can be confirmed. No further details about the nature of the emergency have been released, but passengers are advised to check real-time updates before planning trips. During rush hour, the line carries thousands of passengers, so the gap is felt quickly. The shutdown is expected to last until authorities deem the area secure.
Now over to the weather desk for a quick look at what's coming today.
Morning light paints the sky as we step into today's Montreal weather story for your plans. On this day, the city once felt a scorching 30.3 degrees back in 2024, a record set during an unusually persistent heat wave that stretched across the province. By contrast, the coldest June morning recorded here was a brisk 9.5 degrees in 2013, when an unexpected Arctic air mass slipped southward, catching many without jackets. Our climate normals for mid-June hover around a high of 23 degrees and a low of 15, so both extremes sit well outside the typical range, reminding us how variable the season can be. Right now at 7 a.m., Montreal sits under a clear sky with a gentle 12-degree chill, humidity holding steady at 76%, and a light breeze of 4 kilometers per hour. The sun will climb, bringing the temperature up to 19 degrees by 9, though clouds will begin to drift in, turning the midday scene overcast as we reach 23 degrees at noon. Expect the afternoon to cool back down to 18 degrees around 3 when the first showers arrive, lingering into the early evening and leaving a damp 15 degrees by 7. The UV index will sit at 7, so a hat and sunscreen are wise if you'll be outside. No weather alerts are in effect, and the evening will finish with a soft sunset around 8:45. Looking ahead, Wednesday will bring another warm spell with a high of 25 degrees and a low of 14, but clouds will dominate, and there's a 35% chance of rain in the afternoon. Thursday turns wetter, as overcast skies hold a high of 23 and a low of 16, and the chance of precipitation climbs to 75%, so you might want that umbrella handy. Friday eases slightly with a high of 21 and a low of 15, yet rain still lingers at 45%. Saturday mirrors Friday, offering a high of 21, a low of 14, and a 40% rain probability. Finally, Sunday rounds out the week with a gentle high of 21, low of 14, and a modest 20% chance of showers, perfect for a relaxed weekend stroll.
Traffic snarls from the strike, tonight's Habs Awards buzz, and Lenadia's grand reopening, more coming up. We will be right back.
Watch the local sunset tonight at 6 p.m. for all your local Montreal news.
The biggest story this morning is the STM strike, which has reduced service to peak hour periods only. Expect fewer trains and buses and longer waits on the green, orange, and yellow lines, especially downtown and the South Shore. Roadwork is also biting into the commute. Autoroute Bonaventure between Wellington Street and the Victoria Bridge remains under construction, slowing traffic in the East End. Pont Clement is closed for repairs, diverting vehicles onto the nearby bridges. On Autoroute 10, work between Exit 4 and the Samuel de Champlain Bridge is causing lane reductions, so plan for extra time crossing the island. Autoroute 520's access to Hickmore Street is narrowed, and the service roads near Boulevard Cavendish are also under work, adding bottlenecks in the west. No accidents have been reported, but the combined delays could add 15 to 20 minutes to typical trips. Afternoon commuters should expect the same constraints and plan accordingly.
There are no verified listings available for today. And now here's Tyler with sports.
Big hardware for the Habs, 2 NHL trophies heading to Montreal. A double award night for the Montreal Canadiens. Captain Nick Suzuki claimed the Frank J. Selk Trophy, while Cole Caulfield took home the Lady Byng Trophy. The NHL made the announcement on June 5th. 2 trophies, 2 Habs, a strong statement heading into the offseason, according to CBC Sports NHL. The PWHL has revealed the selection order for its 2026 draft, according to Sportsnet. The announcement came 2 days before the draft itself, giving teams and fans a clearer picture of how the day will unfold. Details on which team holds which pick have not yet been specified in the report. The Canadiens' playoff run is over. Carolina's Logan Stankoven scored one of 3 first-period goals in Game 5 of the Eastern Conference Final, and the Hurricanes eliminated Montreal, advancing to the Stanley Cup Final. That report comes from CBC Sports.
La Nadia in OshalaHka is back, reopening its doors after several weeks of closure with a brand new outdoor patio. The women-focused sports bar, the only one of its kind in Montreal, welcomes fans to watch hockey, soccer, and more in a space designed for camaraderie and confidence. Inside, the familiar chalkboard menu returns, while the patio adds fresh street-side energy for late-night gatherings. Owners say the pause gave them a chance to redesign the layout for better visibility and comfort, and the community response has already been buzzing. In a city that thrives on inclusive spaces, La Nadia reminds us that every neighborhood needs a place where everyone can cheer together. And finally, a happy comeback as La Nadia Women's Sports Bar reopens its doors in OshalaHka, spreading smiles citywide.
Coming up tonight at 6, the local sunset. Your neighborhood, your city, your news. From city hall decisions to the stories happening right on your street, we cover what matters most to Montrealers. Join us tonight at 6 p.m. on GMna for the local sunset, Montreal's evening newscast.
On the historic steps of McGill University, just a short walk from St. Laurent Boulevard, the first rays of sunrise catch the red brick and the crowd of students gathering for a morning coffee. Today, a group of faculty and bilingual volunteers are unveiling a new initiative funded by the province. $20 million earmarked to enrich French language programs across Anglophone campuses. In a modest classroom, Professor Marie-Claude opens a notebook, and a sophomore from abroad, eyes bright, shares a line of poetry she just mastered in French, the syllables rolling like the river that runs beside the campus. The funding will support immersive workshops, conversation circles, and scholarships that set clear proficiency goals, turning the everyday hallway chatter into a chorus of 2 languages. Seeing the students' confidence blossom, her classmates clap, and a sense of shared purpose spreads through the room. It's a small moment, but it shows how investment in language can weave a tighter community. In Montreal, we grow stronger when we speak each other's words.
On a crisp Saturday morning along St. Laurent Boulevard, a group of neighborhood volunteers gathered beside the newly painted crosswalk at the corner of Rue Saint-Denis, where a bright orange banner read "Every Life Counts." Across the street, a retired paramedic named Marie-Claude handed out safety leaflets to cyclists, while her teenage granddaughter, Leo, waved a handmade sign that said "Slow down, share the road." Earlier this week, the province's Auto Insurance Board released its annual road safety report, showing that the number of Quebecers who lost their lives on the highway fell to its lowest level in a decade, while the tally of those injured in collisions rose modestly. The community's response has been swift. Local schools have added street safety drills, and the city council approved additional traffic calming measures at busy intersections. The real payoff came moments later, when a delivery driver, noticing a child darting toward the street, braked gently and waited, allowing the child to cross safely. A small ripple of relief passed through the gathered crowd, a reminder that awareness and a little extra care can turn statistics into stories of hope. We're all a little safer when we look out for each other.
Thank you, Montreal, for joining us on the local sunrise. Tonight's highlight was the safe capture of the escaped kangaroo on the South Shore, reminding us that unexpected moments still find their way into our city. We appreciate your trust and look forward to bringing you more stories tomorrow morning. See you then.